Welcome, CSPers. So I'm going to do a problem. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. That is similar to the homework one, where you have to roll a dice until you get a 6. The difference in the one I'm about to do is we're going to roll 2 dice and roll until we get 2 6s. So it's very similar. There's just a couple differences. Instead of rolling 1 die, I'm going to roll 2. So if you roll 2 6s, we're going to be checking for if we rolled a 12. So I'm going to start that off by making a dice 2. And I'm also going to set my dice 2. When I click the button, I'm going to set a value of -1. And we only do this because we just don't want the program to check that it's an actual roll yet. It's just like a placeholder. We're also going to keep track of how many dice we've rolled. So every time the while loop runs, we want to increase this by 1. And then we're going to keep track of the sum of the dice rolls. So if we roll like an 11 or a 6 and a 5, we want to add 11 to our sum. If we roll like 2 1s or snake eyes, we want to add a 2 to our sum. So the first biggest part, there's a couple conditions you can use. I'm going to do what I think is the easiest for me, which is going to be adding these 2 rolls together. So first, I'm going to make sure I have this second dice set up. So I'm going to call it die 2. Actually, I should just copy and paste this and then change it. And we're going to have to make a new variable too. You don't have to do this on yours, but I'm going to call it sum each roll. I'm just going to set it to 0 to start. And what we're going to do is we're going to say sum each roll. We want this loop to repeat itself unless it's 12, because that's the 2 6s is a 12. So we actually are going to use the not equal to 12. And what this is saying is if I roll a 3 and a 4, that's a 7. That's not equal to 12. So repeat again. And we're going to see this when I run it later. So after I roll the die in each loop, I need to set a value to the sum of each roll. And we'll see that that's going to be, I need to have a capital. That's just going to be a number 2 through 12, whatever I rolled on that roll. Then I want to use that in here. That's whatever die 1 and die 2 are. So the sum is going to, every time I roll, it's going to just add the 2 dies together and add it to the total sum. And then I rolled it once. I used this just because I want to display in the console log what I rolled each time so I can kind of track it. And this is going to display it on the screen over here. So it should die 1 display, die 2 display, just because I want to kind of see it there too. Keep track of how many rolls, how many total dice rolls I've had. So every time the while loop once, that increases by 1. So it's going to go from 1 to 2 to 3. And then I want to have the sum of the total dice rolls. Oh, this looks good. Okay. And then what I want to display here is these 2 variables, the total sum of dice and how many rolls it actually took. Use these. Let's just walk through step by step. Need to fix that. And what happens when I run this code? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it at this while loop. So we get to right here. And we're going to roll until the sum of the roll is 12. So we start off, and this is going to be a true statement because we haven't rolled any dice yet. And I just set it at 0. When we step over, we're going to actually be able to track this. We'll watch a couple of variables. Okay, so we're going to be able to see this. Let's check it out. So it's going to change die 1 to be a certain value when I click step over. I rolled a 3 with die 1. I rolled a 6 with die 2. So that gives me a total of 9. So we should see sum each roll be 9. And it is. Then the sum of the total dice rolls, we've only rolled once, so it should be the same. It should be 9. It's going to add 1 to the total dice rolls, and we can see it shows up right here. 3 plus 6, that's a 9. And this code is just debug console. So what happens here is the important part. We're doing another check, and we're checking the sum of each roll is not equal to 12. So this variable 9 is not equal to 12. That's a true statement, so the loop is going to run again, and it's going to roll. I rolled a 3 with die 1 again. I rolled a 1 with die 2. So that's 3 plus 1. So the sum of each roll should be 4, and it is. And then we're going to add 4 to 9. So we're going to get 13. And then there's going to be a lot of more stuff, just displaying it, what we rolled each time. And then we get to the important part. We're checking again. And we're checking, is the sum of each roll not equal to 12? And in this case, it's 4 not equal to 12. That's true. So we're going to run through this. I rolled a 2 this time. I rolled a 1 again. That's a sum of 3. It's going to add 3, and it made it 16. So we're just keeping track of these variables. They're updating every time we run this loop. So I just press continue, and you can see what we rolled every time. So now it's checking, is 3 equal to 12? Not equal to 12, and that's true. So we're going to roll again. This time I got a 1 for die 1, and I got a 5 for die 2. So that's going to be 6. So sum each roll is going to be 6. It's going to add 6 to 16 and make it 22. And I'm going to press continue. I'm just going to press continue a few times. You're going to see that these values are going to update. The die are going to get rolled. It's going to calculate what the total sum is, and then it's going to add it to the total sum. So I rolled a 1 and a 1. And this could take a while. I'm going to have to click it a few times. 6 and 4, 6 and 5, 6 and 5, 6 and 1, 4 and 2, 4 and 5. We should 4 and 3. This could take a while. So I'm going to have to click it a lot of times. You'll see I'm rolling and rolling. 2 6. Oh, there it was 2 6s. And now you notice I can't click continue anymore. We're out of this loop. So I finished rolling the die. I got out of the loop, and it displayed. It took me 22 rolls, and the total sum was 161. So this is really similar to what you're going to have to do. You just are only going to have one die. So when you think about your check, instead of adding the 2 6s together, you're going to check that roll of the dice to see if it's not equal to 6. Because the only way you can get out of the loop is because 6 is not equal to 6.